Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm the creator of Moss and Nobu, and I'm the creator of the lenticular origami earring. And I've been having these mini conversations with people who wear my earrings, mostly because the more I find out about you, the more I find out just how unique and just passionate and interesting and creative people you are. So today, I wanted to introduce you to Jen, who's become a friend of mine. She works in supporting entrepreneurs who are introverted, and she often ends up helping women navigate this very dominated field. So I'm going to bring her on right now. I think that's going to work. So,
Hi,
Jen! Hello! Oh, you have your earrings on.
you.
Oh, you've paused. Now you're frozen. Um,
Oh,
right
your
now you
audio is
are
cutting out.
frozen. Oh no, it is?
Okay, no, you're okay now.
Oh, okay, cool. Hello.
Oh, look.
It's good to see you. Yes. So these are custom pieces that I made for Jen, and they say I am on it. And at different directions, the I am changes between black and ivory.
Yes,
But these are actually based on a poem that she wrote. So there's actually a full poem written on there if you look
yes,
closely, but it's a,
if you want.
yes. Are you going to read it?
Yes, yes.
Wait, yes, yes, do it, do it, do it.
I'm so excited to connect with you. It's been a while.
I know it has. It's been a long time.
Okay, so yes, as Stacey mentioned, um, I reached out to her because her earrings are exquisite, the detailed, gorgeous, and so I was like, "Can you?" Because I'm a poet, and so I was like, "Can you put my poem on these earrings?" And she said yes, and she did such a gorgeous job. So I wanted to share my personal poem with you called I Am.
Yes.
I am flourishing. I am thriving. I am expanding. I am advancing. I am. I am here nor there. I am everywhere, pervading, sustaining, my thoughts formulating into an infinite state of my own creating.
It's a beautiful poem, and I have a shirt that Jen was generous enough to give me, and so whenever I wear that, I think of you, and I think I had joined one of Jen's group a while back, and so whenever I wear that shirt, it reminds me of the inspiration and the motivation that Jen and that group gave me. So it was. I think if, for any of you out there who are starting anything on your own, it can be a very intimidating and arduous journey on your own. So
Yes.
it was really helpful and just honestly so nice and fun to have a group like what Jen creates and Jen herself, because she just has this way of kind of honing in on what you're good at. And then she like brings that to life. And then on top of it, she gives you that confidence to like move forward with that. And then on top of it, you have all these other women that are from all different walks of life that
Yes.
come together to just like bounce ideas off of each other and stuff. So it's like, it's such a, I don't know, I think if you're doing it on your own, you gotta find a group like that to be a part of. Um, yeah, and Jen and I we were talking about it before how I'm really glad that I'm talking to you this week, and I feel like the stars are kind of aligned, right? For many different reasons, but one of them, I mean, of course, you guys have all know about the increase in violence against Asians in America that has been happening this whole year and escalated this past week, and with the murder of 6 Asian women in Atlanta. And of course, like the media is not calling it a hate crime, but just to like, I just want to take this moment and clarify that that is a hate crime. There was racism involved. So that is the true story. And the media is telling you something different. And it's not true. So the reason why I'm happy to have Jen this week is because she's Filipino. And not only that, but she often helps women of color. So she's helping women navigate these entrepreneurial waters as an introvert, yes, but also as women of color. So oftentimes like they run into these societal obstacles, which often involve racism. So she's very familiar in working with that. And then on top of that, we're both active in just working to break down um, the racist system that we do live in. So with all these things, I just feel like, yes, the stars are aligned. I'm so glad that it's Jen sitting before me, and we're here to talk about all kinds of things. So we didn't plan this at all. So sorry if we jump around with like the current events of today, and just what we came here to talk about. Or not sorry, actually. That's just what's going to happen, right? Um, so yeah, with all of that, this is Jen, and she's just yeah. So you had something to talk about too, about you're starting a style icon group. I don't know if you want to
Oh,
bring that up today as well.
yes, I'd love to share that, but I did want to just touch on what you'd mentioned about
Yes.
uh, horrific um, happenings.
Yeah.
Even honestly, I've been just taking time to process what's been happening because it's just bringing to light so much of how, as you know, as being Asian, as and a woman, how much we are taught to be this model minority, right? To be quiet, to be hardworking, to do what we're supposed to. Yet, when we do all those things in this system, somehow it's okay for someone to have a bad day and kill these 6 people, right? And it just brings to light just how the system is set up and how important our role is as Asian women to speak up. We are taught to be quiet. And that's why I feel like God put it on my heart with this quiet voice, big impact mission, is because we are meant to, I know we're also artists, so we are meant to actually embody what it means to be powerful, right? Not powerful
Yeah.
in a dominating way, but from a true place of honor and truth, and not to feel like, oh, I have to be subservient or I have to be quiet. I can't speak my mind. I can't express my truth because it's not accepted in this system. But it is, and I feel like we are the ones that need to um, advocate for ourselves and speak up and express ourselves through our art, through our truth, through anything that really gives us life, because that's what God intended for us to actually embody what it means to be um, a human being, not a machine, not to be used in this capitalistic, patriarchal society based on racism, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like it is divine timing that you and I are talking
Yeah.
because, you know, art, um, being connected more with more like-minded people, that's what we're going to need moving forward. We can't isolate ourselves and feel like, oh, I have to keep trying to run this hamster wheel. Honestly, what's been brought up to my, what's feeling more and more alive in me since this has come up is like, wow, like we as a society have been stuck in this pattern of trying to constantly perform and prove our worth through what we're doing. And now it's like, no, that's actually the lie. That's the lie. What we've been taught. We have to somehow prove our worth through our work. And our work is meant to be joyful. Our work is meant to be truthful. And that's why we're here. And I feel like that's why we're being led to have this conversation, Stacey, is because our work is important. Our voice is important. And I just feel like we're supposed to not be afraid to speak up anymore.
Yeah. This is why I'm glad I'm speaking to you, because I didn't know how to start, which is why I was like, okay. Anyways, I'm so glad that you said that, because I think that's what you're saying is so true. I mean, I don't know how many times I've been told by like an employer or people I'm working with that it's like, oh yeah, it's like, I'm glad you're Asian. Cause like, and it's like, okay, what, it's like, we know what that means. It just means that they see us as like, we're going to
Safe.
do the work and be quiet. And I think that is something that has been expected of us. even though it's not true. And even like the model minority, it's totally, it is 100% a myth. It's not true. That was actually, it was a word or a phrase that was created, and a theory and an idea that was created in actual racism. So it was a word that was created by a white man that was this was after the Japanese internment camps, and it was to have they used it as a way to explain why Japanese people, even after they were incarcerated and everything was stolen from them during World War II, that they were able to continue to work in America and do a good job and like keep
Right.
their head down and blah 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 and all those things. And what it actually was it was telling all other minorities, was telling Black people, brown people, indigenous people, that they were less than. So I mean, even that idea of model minority, it's not true, and yet it's infiltrated every person in America. It's infiltrated our system and the media, everyone, you know, and even like Asians ourselves, like there are Asian people who truly believe that like the model minority is true and that we are better. But it's such bullshit. And it's something that is it sounds like a positive thing, which was so smart of them to think of this. It was so, you know, it sounds nice, it sounds positive, and yet it's actually very hurtful. And
Yes.
it does it in a very like underground kind of way.
Yes.
And it's really created a divide, and it's pit minorities against each other in this race towards whiteness. And I know that makes people uncomfortable to hear, but I think it's just it's it's the truth, to be
It is.
honest. And it's something that people don't really talk about. History books have tried to erase even the Japanese internment camps. Like you won't really hear about it in school. You have to find out about it, you know, myself through my own family. But if you aren't Japanese or you don't know anyone Japanese, you would have to find out about that through like your own research. So now it's like we're in this moment where people are starting to talk about it, which I think is very important, because the incarceration of Japanese in during World War II in America, where the government stole pretty much everything from them, which includes my own family, and they were incarcerated simply for being Japanese. I mean, that in itself
Yes.
is evidence of the racism that exists in this country. And today, this week, we see that it still continues. Like it continues. I mean, it's the same thing. We see it in I mean, in this whole past year, it's really been highlighted, which I think is good. It's a good awakening for people who think that racism doesn't exist anymore, especially if you're Asian. Like we've been able to slide by, you know, we've been able to get away with really assimilating to this idea of whiteness. And now it's like, I think for many Asians out there, it's a reality check as to what country we really live, what country we live in. And I'm hoping that at this moment we can take this and really move forward to fight, to like, you know, it's strength in numbers kind of game, I think, in
Yes.
this fight against racism. So it's like, okay, no longer can we be just divided, and no longer can we say it's their problem. Like we have to
Yes.
join together and really move forward.
Yes. Yes, that's the key, because the way racism is set up, they want us to divide.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
want us to fight each other, other
Yeah.
minorities, blame other minorities, blame other
Mm-hmm.
people. That's the distraction. But the truth is, the more that we can commune together, recognize what is the truth, that we are not here to try to get the approval of white people. We
Yeah,
are meant to approve of ourselves. That's what it comes down
that's
to.
very true. Yeah.
And you have that, that's when we, that's honestly why people like that shooter yesterday are not threatened by Asians, especially Asian women, because
Yeah.
like, oh, they're not going to speak up. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
stand up for themselves, right? But the more we wake up to the fact that we are meant to advocate for ourselves, we are meant to come together and access that power, that God-given power within ourselves. That's what racism is threatened by. When we actually can recognize We have the power. We're not trying to assimilate.
That
Okay? We
is,
tried that.
yeah.
Believe me, my whole life I have tried and I succeeded on being like the good girl, the model student, the model citizen. But deep down, I was miserable because I was believing in that lie that I was never good enough because I was trying to make myself into a machine, a
Yeah.
robot, and I'm not. And so now, like by me showing up with my business, being an advocate for introverts, being leaders, speaking up, um, just giving yourself permission to express yourself with your style, with your presence, with your power, with your voice. That is what God is calling me to do. That is what God is calling you to do with your art, with your artistry. That's why you're actually being called to have these conversations to show the multi dimensions of what it means to be an Asian woman, right? And so I just feel like we're meant to just continue on our path, however we feel inspired to do so, and we will continue to connect and create a force within ourselves and keep moving in the path of truth because this lie this lie is dying. Okay.
Let's hope so. I mean, that's the hope, is that we can break this lie down, because
Yeah.
like it's just been living on for too long. So, and I think it's interesting. I mean, the thing, I'm actually not a religious person, but Jen and I, even though she is, we still speak that same language. And I think that's an important thing to say too, just as like an offshoot. But I think it's true when you're saying like, just to be bold as like an Asian woman, it is
Yeah.
something that is kind of opposite of what a lot of people out there think of us. So
Yes.
I mean, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I dress the way I dress. I make these earrings, and they are bold earrings, and I make them to help others be like, to just help others express themselves,
Yes.
and to give them, hopefully, or just accompany them on this journey of being themselves and of being bold. And I just wanted to bring up this topic of like, um, the term, or that idea of Asian American. It's really such a huge blanket statement. So when people think of Asian American, they think of me actually. So I'm Japanese American. So there's a, a shit ton of other Asians out there that are not even thought of, that are often completely erased from American society. Like literally, there's not even enough statistics to do studies on. So Jen is Filipino. She's one of those that are just completely dropped off. And there are just so many others. So it's even that there's a term that you guys have all been hearing. It's AAPI, and that is so much better because it's starting the conversation that there are more of us out there, and we are not a monolith. And there's so much variety in simple things, from the food that we eat, from the things, our cultures, the things that we do. Like it's so diverse. So you can't even, like, it's so, to say Asian American is becoming, or has been, so outdated. So I'm happy to hear these new terms coming out, even like the younger people that are coming up and just really pointing out all these things that we're talking about now. It gives me hope for like that future generation, for sure.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we talked about this because Stacey and I didn't plan to talk about this,
No,
but
this is all really impromptu.
right. I mean, we were going to already talk about like soulful sacred style and how
Yes.
we always had that kinship, but it felt really important to start off the conversation talking about this because um, again, it's still hard to process what is
It's
happening.
it's
Um,
and it's not new. That's the thing, is I keep hearing a lot of people are like, I'm so shocked, I'm surprised. And I wasn't, I was like, this is what happens when we keep ignoring the issue
yeah,
that racism does exist. This is what it leads to, and this is the path that we have all been walking down in, and now we're here. So yeah, I think it it's important. It's it is important for us to talk about it. I think we're still processing it it's because we're being forced to now, I think. So now it's something that we just have to really figure out how to move forward.
Yeah, but like you said, it's about like facing it and talking with
Yeah.
people who understand and just feeling safe enough to use your voice and sharing how you feel and not ignoring um, really what is happening. You know,
Yeah.
er, there is a reckoning, there's an awakening that's happening all over the planet. And so, again, what's most important is that we stay united and keep focusing on what is the truth and what is not, and how are you living your life in a way that's aligned with that, because that's
Hmm.
how you'll contribute um, in your own way in your own life, right? Is when you operate every day from a place of truth, and from that place, that's how you impact your small circle, and that circle ripples out, right? Because you're living
Yeah.
a place of integrity, you know.
Yeah, that's so true because what I make is very obviously Japanese. It's very obviously Asian. So when I first made it, I was actually wondering, I was like, who's gonna wear this? Like, is it too Asian for Asians to wear? Like, is it too Asian for other races to wear? But what I was really happy to find out is that my earrings have been accepted by like all types of people of all colors. And to me, this might sound a bit dramatic, but to me, it was like when I'm like, oh, this is a really nice welcoming. Like, it's just like, oh, I think it shows, um, how someone who is not Japanese is open to my culture, who I am as a person.
Yes.
And I think that is like so important. And I don't know, it means something to me. And so I think you're right. In this, we do what we do when we move forward and we continue our work, but in these small ways, I at least hope that we help move the conversation forward. So even for myself, like I work under my grandmother's name's Masen Nobu. And the reason why is because yes, I believe that I am a continuation of their life, and I am working on the foundation that they created for me. Another reason is because they were incarcerated during World War II, and because that history is not often talked about, and it's sometimes watered down and or just erased from history books. Um, I feel like it's so important for me to talk about that and release that story into the world, especially for people who aren't familiar with it, because it does just serve as more evidence of the change that we need to make. So, and I think you do that too with your work as well, and just like helping other people and working with people and moving them forward as well.
Yeah, I agree. And like I've always shared with you that, you know, like I resonated with your earrings because I actually didn't necessarily think like, oh, this is Asian. I was just thinking this is exquisitely made. I could tell the design
Oh,
was
cool. Thanks.
exquisitely done. So I feel that kinship we were talking about earlier about style. It's like I was sharing a video earlier. I just feel like in my heart, like style is such a sacred practice and it's about connecting with the essence of who you are. So why people of all races resonated with your earrings is because it came from an artful, honest place. It came from your essence, right? The essence of who you are, right? And so that's why
That's
I
cool.
love, approaching my business from that place because especially as an introvert, as a quiet leader, it's like your energy speaks volumes, right? Energy
Yeah.
doesn't lie, right? So who you are on the inside, whatever you are feeling about yourself, it emanates out. And so creatively expressing yourself through your style makes a statement. Like I know like when people wear your earrings, that's a conversation starter. People are like, what is that? Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
And it's like giving yourself permission, especially as an introvert, to make a statement without having to say a word. That is effing.
Yes.
Okay. I personally don't like to talk all the time. I
Yeah.
like to talk when I have something to say, but I don't like just to talk, just to hear myself talk, right? So to know that we as introverts have that superpower where we can access that, the essence of who we are, express that from the inside out with our style, that's effing powerful to me. And so that's why I love, talking about this, and why I am having that style masterclass next
Yeah.
week. So yeah, I'm so excited. So if anyone wants to join, it's
Yeah,
free.
I
Yeah,
definitely, I have to check it out to see the day and time that I want to join if I can make it. But
yeah, it'll
yeah.
be on play too. So it's at dawningsoul.com/, I think I have style masterclass. Dawning Soul
Cool. Okay.
masterclass. So anyway, that whole style piece, I just feel like the timing of that with this awakening in the world, I just feel like that's what people are waking up to, more of who they are on the inside, not
That's true.
externally trying to achieve or become, assimilate to. That era, that time, again, like we're saying, is dying off.
Done.
What is happening? People are waking up. And so, are you brave enough to actually access who you are on the inside and express that? Because that's what people want. People want to engage with people who are real, who are honest, and
Yeah.
have something um, meaningful to contribute to the world, right?
That's actually true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Gone are the days where it's like, I want to assimilate to this. People are really trying to be like, wait, who am I? And what am I doing here? Which I think are important questions. They're such simple questions, but they're so important for how you lead your life. So even like, though, if anyone is like young listening out there and they're younger, like ask yourself those questions, because I think it'll lead you down like a really positive and powerful path. And I
Mm-hmm.
think even when you were saying, when you were talking about my earrings being like starting conversations, so whenever I take those like personality tests, I always come out like almost 50-50 of introvert and extroverted. But as I grow older, like I become more introverted. So these earrings, I hate like networking. If I'm in like a room with people I don't know,
Yeah.
I get really nervous about it. There was one time where I was at this like little art event and there was like a mingling thing happening afterwards. And I actually went to the bathroom for like 20 minutes. And then after that, I came out of the bathroom and then I just left. I just left the event. I was like, I can't do this. So, these earrings have kind of given me a way, because people do come up to you and
Yeah.
they'll start the conversation, and
I
it's a
know.
relief. It is a relief.
It's a relief, and it is, I found with your style, it's a filter, because the people that feel it, there's this natural energetic
Yes.
resonance, right? Like me and you,
Yes.
like I resonated with your work, so I knew intuitively I would resonate with you. I
Yeah.
just knew, and we did. And so it's just like, to me, that is like an amazing thing that God created, was just you create something from your heart and it will energetically attract the right people, because it creates that resonance. The right people will feel you. And I was just like,
Yeah.
this is brilliant, because I don't like you. I don't like to, go up to total strangers and start talking. And you're just like, I want to just show up as my true self and
Yeah.
make
Hopefully.
it known by
Yeah.
just being myself. And then I like it when people just come to me.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know,
It's just nice. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to talk to this person who has, because it's like once you have that one little connection, then you're like, oh, okay, we must have more things in common. Or there's definitely like an automatic connection there. And I think it's something. I think people think of style as very surface. I think
yes,
we know what you were saying before, but really it is such a great tool, and it can also say so much about you. So yeah, it's so true, like when someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, I like what you're wearing, I love your earrings, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because not everyone
yes,
likes this. And so
yes.
there's an automatic connection there. Yeah, for sure.
It's like a beautiful filter, because they're like, ooh, they start to lean into you, because they're like, hmm. And then the people that are not interested, good. We don't have
Yeah, it's like, bye bye.
have it common anyway, right?
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Yeah, I think yeah, and the way that we came together was just through like our love of fashion.
Yes.
And now we have this really nice relationship and we're having this meaningful conversation. And I think it all started because I was like, I love this thing that you bought. And you were like, oh, and
Yeah.
that's literally how
My
it
my
started.
bargains, my $5 bargains.
Oh, yes. Jen's, just to add to her long list of things that she does, she also is an amazing, like, bargain shopper because she'll post things on her Instagram, this look, and I'm like, oh, this was like $100. Maybe like, and if you're like, no, I got it on sale. I'm like, okay, 50? And she's like, five. $5.
$5.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's just I have a natural knack for that. But again, it's just like
You do.
this. this it just feels like a treasure hunt. It's like, oh, you find something special. And I think that's why I love vintage, is because it's
Ah,
rare,
yes.
one of a kind. It has a story. And oh, if you resonate with it, you can carry it. You can carry it off, right? So I
Yeah.
feel like I don't like looking like everyone else. That's why I love wearing things that, I could find something at Goodwill or online, but I always have to feel like it speaks to me,
Yeah.
deep, not just like, oh, that's trendy, that's cute. Because I'm not trying. That's the one thing for style. I don't really care if you like what I'm wearing because I'm doing it
Same.
for me. That's something I feel very unapologetic about. I really
Yeah.
don't care if you like what I'm wearing or not because
Mm-hmm.
if I'm feeling it, hey, everything else is gravy. It's just like
Yeah.
whatever. Because I love it.
Yep, that's how I am too. So, I mean, even growing, I lived in New York for a number of years, and that's kind of really where I started to like hone in into my style and develop that. And but I remember when I really started like dressing to how I wanted to dress, people would make fun of me and all this, but really when it came down to it, I was like, dude, I think I look amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And really, yeah, and that in itself was really helpful for me because I grew up with so many insecurities, and so just having that for me was like, this is something that I am so
good.
confident in, and I don't know
I know.
why.
Me too. Because like when I
Yeah.
was young, I was very shy and
Oh,
stuff.
same.
But
Yes.
when I got older, like teenager, high school, especially college, and then I just noticed like, oh, I love style. Oh, when I would put something on, I just knew like you can't say anything to me because I know,
Yeah. It's
I know, that I
like
I
I
feel
look
it myself. There's nothing you can say
amazing.
to
Yeah. I mean, people would say things to me, and I'd be like, oh, okay, and it just wouldn't. It's just like words bouncing off me. I'm
me.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
like
okay, cool. Like that's their opinion, and that is your opinion only because I know I look good.
I
So
know.
it's just a funny way. And then but the other interesting thing that I noticed was people, and just talking about that connection is someone, I would meet someone and they would have like, I could tell they had like an edgy, cool, like fashion forward, like very different style. And they would come up to me and compliment me on what I was wearing, my earrings. And I was like, okay, this is it. I was like, these are the people
Yeah,
that understand me and who do something similar. And that in itself is nice too, because that way, I think maybe that's a part of it too, is like you go out there like wearing whatever you want to wear, and then you're like, I don't give a fuck. And then, but in the back of your head, you know that you have a community of
yes.
other people
Who
out there
resonates?
who
Yes.
also don't give a fuck. So,
So that's the
yeah,
that's the great part. That's why I'm telling you, like, style is so empowering because it's like
it
when you
is.
see yourself, it's just like the right people will feel you, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to like force yourself in these really awkward conversations of trying to get someone's approval who doesn't feel you in the first
Who
place.
they don't, yeah, they don't like you anyways.
So let's just keep it moving. Let me just keep doing me, keep feeling me, and then I attract people we feel each other, and
Yes.
everyone's happy. And
Yeah.
I mean, to me, life is meant to be enjoyed. And
Yeah.
I find when you really take the time to wear things that where you adorn yourself and things that really light up your soul, I mean, that's when I find your life, you're living your life in a really sacred, expressive way because it's for you, and then you start to radiate. You start to radiate this energy, and like people are like, who is this? Like,
Yeah.
and it's just like again, you don't have to try because it's energy. It's energy. So
Yeah. And I think and it's true. Like I mean, just having that energy and putting it out there and then having other people like respond to it. It's like it's a really nice feeling. So
yeah,
I'll say that.
like
Do you,
something I wanted to share. Like
oh
this is
yes, share.
well, again, when I was getting, I think it's kind of when I was getting out of corporate and I was trying to like start my entrepreneurial journey, I got this like divine nudge to do a photo shoot. And I was kind of like,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, I want to be visible. I don't know. But I felt it really strong in my heart. And because I love style, I was like, okay, I'll just give it a try. So I started, my boyfriend's a photographer, so he took the photos. And I remember the first time when I got the photos back, I was just like, who is this? Because I could see my spirit, I could see my soul in the photos, which I saw myself differently, and I was just like, whoa,
You're
this is
like, wow, I'm
wow,
so
this is
hot.
me, right? And so I've actually been doing like I actually did a shoot last week, and I just feel like
Oh,
it's so
nice.
empowering. Yeah, I'm gonna be sharing the photos soon, but it's just like it's so empowering when you can give yourself permission to take up space, take
Yeah.
space, especially like again if you're more on the introverted side. It's like we're taught to like be quiet and just let's hide in the corner and just kind of no take up
Yes.
space, like really own your energy, and that is so effing empowering to do that for yourself. And again, the right people will resonate with you.
Yeah. And I think that's taking up space is like is a conversation we keep hearing these days because I think especially as women and then if you're a woman of color, it's been very it's very difficult to take up that space. But now it's like it's becoming at least more accepted, so it's more of a positive thing. So
Yes,
it's just an interesting it's I think for you and I it's interesting to be working and creating in this time because we're seeing what we've always been feeling is like it's important to take up that space and no matter how you're doing it. And I think it's just like now we're kind of being pushed forward. Like I was actually listening to this Clubhouse talk the other day, and it was specifically for this, just in reaction to the violence against Asian Americans. And they were talking pretty much about like about that, about how especially Asian women were just meant to be quiet and not say anything. And now it's this time of like, actually, no, like that's
right,
really not going to work for us anymore.
right.
And just kind of really stepping into that light and speaking on all these topics,
Yeah,
whether it's about the violence against Asian Americans or against Black people and the indigenous community, all these minorities that have experienced racism, prejudice in America, which is like every minority really. Now it's like our time to really kind of band together and work towards just a better future for everyone. And I think style is just a small thing, but I think it can be something for myself at least that has accompanied in my journey and has given me like that little bit of confidence. So like even making these earrings, like in the back of my head, whenever I'm making them for someone, I'm always like, this is the story I'm sending out to you.
yes,
And I hope that every person that wears my earrings and who knows the history of my grandmothers now, who knows about how they were incarcerated, how the government took everything from them, like they know that story now. And on top of that, they have something that reminds them of that history, but also reminds them that that whatever like his family history that they come from, they can create something really beautiful out of it. So even like on one of my earrings, I have from destruction comes creation. And that's something that's kind of like a motto that always flows through my creations is like, things in your life will fall apart. You will experience heartache and stress and pain as we have all experienced, especially this past year. And but through all that, like find the things that help you move forward and like help you create something beautiful, however you create like in your life. And I
Yeah.
think you do that. And I think I see you do that in your work, like helping women navigate this like on these this like entrepreneurial field that is really dominated by like men.
Yeah. I wanted to acknowledge that, like, I wanted to really honor you for just continuing this. Um, it's like you're taking. I'm picturing like you've taken the baton from your grandmothers
Yeah.
and are continuing, you know, their legacy, you know, with your work, you know. So
Oh,
what
thanks.
you said in terms of like what you create, you hope people feel your energy. I did. Like I didn't know you, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, totally like feel this. It's just like we can't underestimate. I honestly feel it's revolutionary. It's rebellious to really honor your joy and honor the essence of who you are, honor your style, honor your presence, because that is the revolutionary act. Because how we're in the system that we're built is to make us conform, especially
Yeah.
as an Asian woman, to be subservient
Mm-hmm.
is a sexual object. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you can't actually speak up. You can't actually lead. You can't actually say something that's going to be impactful or do anything that's going to be impactful in the world. You're just meant to just, you know, be like subservient and just do what you're told.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not doing that anymore. So I just wanted to like really honor and commend you for just having the courage to continue to create your art and to help your clients to express who they are from the inside out through your earrings, because that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
I hope so. I hope that everyone who wears them has that connection. Or it I just, honestly, I just hope that these earrings are kind of like this little reminder of them to connect to themselves. Like I
Yes.
remember or several women have told me they have like the bad bitch earrings. And there's like definitely a sense of humor there, but really they say like actually when I wear them, it's a reminder to me that I am. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, that's
exactly.
actually really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's these little moments, and I think it's true because as we like go through life, it's these little things that amount to much bigger things. And I think especially just navigating America and everything we have to face, it's nice to have something that kind of gives you like a little bit of like a sense of empowerment or edge. I mean, at least for myself, and I
Yeah.
think for you too, it really kind of helps you be like, actually, I'm going to say something about this. I'm going to stand up for this. And
Yeah.
it's just little things that help you do those bigger things.
Yes. Those little things are what will keep you steady as you continue to build your legacy. Again, like the more that you just wake up each morning and just make small decisions that all are in alignment with your integrity, that give you joy, that really honor like who you are on the inside, that's impactful. You know, this whole like
Yeah.
mission, I always talk about quiet voice, big impact. It is important for you to just recognize you don't need to compare yourself to be like how other people are in order to be successful or to be
Yeah.
super influential. It's like honor what is true for you, and that is what is impactful. And again, we are creating our legacy, so it's our choice. Are we trying to um, compare ourselves to other people and try to get other people's approval, or are we going to give ourselves permission to finally live for ourselves,
Yeah.
right?
It's very
So
true.
through creating our art, through using our voice, through wearing whatever lights up our style, like that's again, it's a revolutionary
Yes.
act. I feel, and it's just like don't underestimate like those small
Those
decisions.
small things. Yeah. It's true. Don't underestimate them.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, they do. Well, Jen, I don't want to keep you too long, but I'm so glad that we were able to just address the the racism that exists in this country, and also and just, I don't know, I feel like just just so glad that I was able to speak to you today and I had you on my schedule, because you really were the perfect person to speak on all these subjects. Because I mean, the events that happened, it really encompasses so much, and I'm just glad that we were able to talk about that. So I don't know, is there any last words that you have to say?
Well, I just want to say, I love you and I love what you're doing,
Oh, thank you.
art, and just keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate you reaching out to me to have this conversation because, like I said, I was already excited for us to talk about style,
I know. Yeah.
obviously. But the timing of this just felt like divinely, like you said, aligned. And I truly hope that whoever watches this, it resonates, and especially if you are a minority, especially if you're an Asian woman, to just want to encourage you to know you're meant to take up space. You're meant to follow your own lead and speak up and live your life for you and your truth because that's all why we're here. So
Yeah, it's time to speak up. I think we've really been flying under the radar, and it's time we speak up. And
yeah,
this is a really good moment. And yeah, I just thank you so much for having this conversation, because I know these conversations can get awkward and this and that and stuff. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna be with Jen. Like, it's going to be a really good conversation. And I feel so lucky to just I don't know, I mean, we started out working together and now we're friends, and I just am very thankful for that. So and thank you for what you do too, and just helping women navigate this crazy journey of like starting something, whatever that may be. You always bring together such unique women from like all different walks of life, and it's very cool, and it's such an interesting and motivating experience. So so for everyone out there, like, check out Jen's page too, and she has the workshop coming up, which I'm sure will be fully inspirational, and it's going to make you do something good. So yeah, check her out as well. I'll have more information about her in the little comment section thingy thing. And that's it. I don't know, stay safe out there, stay motivated, stay inspired. I just wish the best for you, and I will talk to you soon.
thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Thank you. Hi, Finn. All right, I'll talk to you guys later, or talk to you later. Bye.